Hey guys, Popovers here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Attack on Titan ending and my thoughts. I wasn't able to because of school and stuff like that, but now I'm actually able to. This is going to be separated into two parts. The first part's going to be talking about the other endings and about chapter 138 and 139 as a whole with the extra pages. And then I'm going to be talking about the fanfic A&R series that is supposed to be an alternate reality to the original ending that came out. So yeah, let's actually get started. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell. So this section is just going to be reviewing chapter 139, the additional pages. Now before I talk about the good and bad, I'm just going to say outright, I'm not going to say that I feel mixed. I more lean towards I don't like the ending than I do like it. It wasn't how I thought it would go down, but the additional pages do help it. But anyways, let's just talk about the good, alright? So the main things I really like about the ending so far is that it just gives us rest from all the torment that we've been through and all the torment that the characters have been through. Even though it isn't the most realistic, it's just something, just seeing our characters happy and just seeing that like they could have like a peaceful time before our destruction. And actually what I really liked was these additional pages. I really do think that like they add a bit of depth. That yes, we did get our closure for his friends and for the people that he loved back in Paradise, but the world still goes on. There was hurt in the world after that rumbling. They felt like they've been attacked by Paradise that long, and they had to push back and had to wait for the right moment and the right time. This is very far into the future, so I don't know what led to these moments, if there was, besides the rumbling, but they just had to come back, and they gave Paradise what essentially was the rumbling. So yeah, that's the good. The bad thing is that this ending felt rushed. This ending felt rushed and didn't feel like actual like closure to the series. I'm sorry. Wait. You could say I didn't understand the series. I don't care. I felt as if giving a fascist regime power over the military and really out of place panels like this one with Eren crying and the other one with Reiner sniffing. Like, I get it, right? You know what I mean? It's comedic. But boiling down peaceful and closure parts just for comedic value and for a love story just kind of sucks. I'm gonna use Reiner as an example because I'll tackle Eren later on, but Reiner as a character is mentally broken. He's been mentally broken his entire life. He's been thinking that he's the hero until he went to Paradise, where he got this split personality disorder with his soldier identity and his warrior identity, which in turn gave him a massive wave of depression coming back when the death of Bertolt and, basically the failure of his mission, and he survived even though he didn't want to. He almost killed himself. He wasn't able to fight, and even then he pushed himself further to become the true warrior that he was, to fight the big battle. And it all boiled down to him sniffing the card. Really? That's it? We couldn't get to see him, like, I don't know, maybe just live a simple life besides being like this, pet of peace? I feel like he should have opted out and lived a more simple life out of the military. He would have been more traumatized than anything. But I'm not the sword master. You know what I mean? I'm not the person who's in charge of this. But I just feel like if we just removed this of him sniffing Historia's card, it would have been so much better. Like, that was just such a such a waste. It doesn't ruin his character for me. His character now feels like a joke. And that was not the best way. Put someone who was struggling their entire life for that. You know what I mean? For just sniffing their card. And of course we have Eren's crying scene. And I don't care what anyone has to say. I understand that he's been living through a facade. And I've known that before the ending has come out. But this facade shouldn't have been about loving Mikasa. I didn't want this story, such a complex story about race relations and war and the cycle of hatred, to just end up being a love story that the main character couldn't even control. We get it. I already knew he was a slave to his own plot. But to see him pathetically screaming in the water about Mikasa just says a lot, especially since we get this panel after. We already knew that he had a facade. But of course he kept moving forward because he is the Attack Titan. Wait, I want to talk about this whole facade thing, because I just realized that this whole writing Eren as a completely different character until the ending, where it's just, oh, it's played as a facade, he lied to the reader, is bad writing. It's completely bad writing. You're not supposed to lie to the reader. Other characters can lie to the other characters, but you can't lie to another, but you can't lie to the reader. You just can't lie to the reader. Because how are we supposed to get it then? How are we supposed to get these little bits and crumbs and pieces so we would know the whole story? It seems very cheated, and nothing can defend this. This wasn't the way to portray Eren. Eren should have been level-headed. Eren should have just said that he wanted Mikasa to live a long life, and that he actually truly loved Mikasa, instead of crying on the fucking floor like this. I didn't even think season 1 Eren could do this. Yet, and if you tried to defend this crying panel with either a rhetorical or like speculative answer, like he has bottled up emotions and he doesn't know how to cope with it, even though he's known how to for I don't know how long chapters, or you defend this with trying to compare it to 131, which is not the case. In 131, we still get the fact that Eren wants to do this whole rumbling, but he gets it. And he gets the fact that he's killing all of these innocent lives that he doesn't need to. This is completely different. In 139, he's crying over that a girl isn't gonna get with him. And I get it. The girl's been with him for a while, but we haven't gotten breadcrumbs, or at least something that has given or has alluded to the fact that he's loved Mikasa back. And I don't care about the anime. I'm talking strictly about the manga right now. Alright? It's not a complete assassination of a character, but it ruins Eren as a whole, since we now know the reason for everything. And the fact that he kills Dina in the end is so weird. Especially with the ending we got. Killing Dina was useless. I don't care if it was to, start my character arc and let me to who I was today. The reason why he was doing this is because his mother died. That is completely bad writing for him to kill his own mother. That's like saying, oh, my name's Batman and I'm gonna kill my own parents so I can start my whole career as Batman. That's lazy writing, and it removes like the motivation entirely. And no, I don't want to hear, oh, he's just trying to protect his friends. Because if he was really trying to protect his friends, and if he cared so much for his friends, he would have completed the rumbling, stayed alive with his friends, and let them survive there in paradise. Not to mention the fact that this entire time it was all because of Mikasa, which I would get if there were a lot of Ymir parallels with Mikasa, but there weren't a lot. Maybe there were one or two, but there weren't a lot. Historia had a lot more parallels with Ymir as a character. And now I'm just sitting here knowing the fact that a very complex story has ended with basically a rom-com ending all about love. Kinda sucks. You know what I mean? this show wasn't really about this, and it ended up being about this, which, if you're happy for it, fine, good for you. But I didn't like it. It was rushed, messy, and it would have been treated better. It wasn't a good ending at all. But I respect the ending. I respect what it was trying to be, where it was trying to be this sort of, like, truth of if we killed Eren and tried to save the world would come back because of revenge, which it would have been executed a lot better if they removed a lot of the elements that I talked about and fixed them and polished them the better way, but they didn't, and they instead focused on these romantic levels or romantic parts of the story that doesn't make any sense, because the show wasn't about the romantic parts. I'm getting very emotional. I'm gonna go into Titan No Requiem. Let's just get into this. So, Attack on Titan ANR. I would just like to say, first of all, before anything else, I love this rendition of Chapter 137. The conversation with Armin and Zeke is as it should have been, instead of it being very two-dimensional. The reason why Kid Eren was in the skies in the first place is honestly pretty Attack on Titan, you know what I mean? That would kind of be the reason. It just makes sense. This chapter makes sense in the sense of Attack on Titan. Let's start off with the conversation that Zeke and Armin have. It isn't very like, oh, I convince you this is how life truly should be, and it goes on there. I think this conversation is realistic in the sense of these two are just trying to understand what Eren's going through. They're trying to understand why they're there in the first place, why they're in the paths, and what's Eren's true motivation. Enough of the plot synopsis. Let's talk about the good of ANR and the bad. First, the good. So, the art is fantastic. And when I mean by fantastic, I truly mean fantastic. This is amazing for fanfic. It looks like Isayama's art. It's placed like Isayama's art. It's directed just like how Isayama would direct it. And mwah! Like, the final panel is amazing. It even brings back to what Eren said back in chapter 90 something, or chapter 100, where he was like, until all of my enemies are destroyed, you know? And Armin's face looks horrifying. Like he looks disgusted, and like the emotion expressed is amazing. Honestly, this series gives me gives me that little jump back, like the Attack on Titan spirit back. Maybe it's just because the show ended and I'm kind of just grasping into thin air and everything, but damn, the art is amazing. It did fuck up on Grisha though. That was a thing which I'll talk to in the bad part about, like, you know, character models and all that stuff. But besides that, they portrayed it really well. They kept everything very accurate to the canon before chapter 138 and 139. How Eren was written, even though some people disagree, I think it was better written here than it was on 139. It's the Eren that we know from the paths. It's the Eren that has grown as a character and grown as a person as well, because he knows why he has to commit this mass genocide is because of the freedom of Paradis and Eldia in general, and we see that here. You know, it's the character that we know. I also like how Zeke and Armin's conversation isn't so rally the troops as it was in 137. It's more so theory based and debatable. They're questioning why they're there, and they're testing their knowledge onto each other. It feels more in line, but I actually don't mind how 137 was written. I think that was a really good chapter. But I think that's all I have to say about the good. Direction amazing, the art is amazing, and it keeps to the canon before 139. Now let's get into the bad. There was too much exposition, I think. I think it could have, you know, winded it back a little, but besides that, the big thing that, you know, got me going was how they drew characters like Grisha, Armin a little, and steered off from a bit of the old art style. It's just it's getting used to, but I think they need to work on that a lot. You know, they're just drifted a little and like kind of fucked them up. Like, damn, dude, they greased them in this panel. But besides that, holy shit. At least it's not this, right? Nah, like, I don't know. I think that's all I have to say about the bad. A&R is genuinely a good chapter, especially for that part 1. I can't wait for another moment. And I wish I would have made another video for A&R, but I can't talk about A&R without comparing it to 139. I seriously can't. Like, these two were inseparable, and I've been working on this video for like 2 weeks now. So I just needed to upload it out there. So that's it. Let's have a summary. I know I'm not gonna have a jump cut because I don't want to draw another little bumper, but taking into consideration, I think 139 was really disappointing. It wasn't the ending I wanted, and if you see my thoughts in the previous video that I uploaded 2 months ago, that I didn't want an ending like this. I didn't want a ending. Alright? It just, God, man. It sucks. You know what I mean? Thoughts on A&R? I think A&R is pretty good, especially for a one-parter. I think it has, you know, some trip-ups here and there, but it can get better if it accurately ends the series in our favor as an Attack on Titan community. I think what they need to do best is have a Ymir point of view, have a Historia point of view, and portray the conflict between Eren and Armin more realistically. And of course, keep the series enjoyable to the canon. And basically, yeah, that's it. Chapter 139 was disappointing. And A&R is a really good love letter to Isayama's work. I don't hate Attack on Titan. I'm gonna restrain from Attack on Titan content so far. I think that's it. That's it for this video, actually. Like and subscribe, hit the share button. I think I have like a little after credit scene sometime here. I have a Discord, so go follow that. And I'm going to be live streaming on Twitch some of my shit when I'm drawing and all that stuff. I also have a TikTok. Follow my TikTok. Yeah. Without further ado, let's hit the credits.
Are you recording this or something?
Yes.
Yo mama, Joe mama, Joe mama, Joe mama, Joe mama.
Alright. Welcome to
Hibachi on SoundCloud.
What?
You want to listen to Hibachi on SoundCloud. You want to listen to Hibachi on SoundCloud.
You want to
listen to Hibachi on
enthusiast.
SoundCloud.
You want to
You
give
want to listen to Hibachi on SoundCloud. You want to listen to Hibachi on SoundCloud.
You want to
You
give
want to listen to Hibachi on
SoundCloud.
Voice cracking.
You guys want to say anything?
Crack a lacking.
You want to donate to Hibachi on SoundCloud.